right, we're ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh!
Woof.
Hey everybody, welcome back to brand new Late to the Murder Party, and of course we are continuing the Fall of the Hunt. And now, we move in. We've talked a little bit about Alien, we've started talking about Predator. Well, we're gonna continue to talk about Predator, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. No, wait, don't shut it off. We are gonna be talking about 3 years later, 1990s Predator 2, which, oh boy, that one had trouble too. But we will get into that. I, of course, remembered this time. With me is the lovely Xeiren.
Hello.
The equally as lovely Graveturtle.
Hello.
The Belgian in wolf's clothing, Varren Gimbold.
It's okay. I'm a cop. I don't think he gives a shit.
My good friend, pass the remote.
I think I might become literally too old for this shit.
The awesome
Did
Wolfman
you see my
Roy.
memo?
Wait a second. I thought we were covering Split Second. I really did. Did I read that wrong?
I haven't got into the Predator ripoffs yet.
Okay.
The chaotic Doc himself.
If there's one thing I believe on, shit happens.
And, of course, I am your hostess with the mostess, the Mistress Ookami. Predator 2. Okay. As of this recording, I have not yet watched Prey or The Predator. But as of this recording, I will state Predator 2 is my favorite. And Predator 2 is better than the first one. Fucking fight me.
I'll bite your legs off.
They're both great.
Oh, they are both great in and of themselves, which is still then kind of funny that how Predator 2 was very maligned at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like critically and commercially, it was pretty much a flop.
Yeah, no, but...
Yeah, which is funny.
You go ahead.
Although there was one...
No.
Go ahead. Roy, you.
Roy.
No, no. I was saying, go on, Ookami.
Oh.
Oh.
That's why I stopped.
Oh, well, I was saying go on.
Go on, go on, go on.
Go on.
No, but there was one place in the world where Predator 2 did have a cult following. It was France.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Apparently, they did special showings there, and when the director of this movie, what's his name again, Stephen Hopkins, when he went over in 2001 to film something there, apparently that's where he found out. I was like, oh, Predator 2 is actually kind of a hit here. Cool.
Yeah. I think one of the things.
Oh, the French.
Yes. I think one of the things that people kind of miss is that this thing has a cast.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This
Yes,
thing
it
has a cast. I mean, I'm not even talking about Danny Glover, Gary Busey, Ruben Blades, American Cheetah, or Big Pat. I'm talking about even the guys in the background. Like, we got Robert Davi in there. We got Morton Downey Jr. in there. We got Henry King, who served the carryover original member of Predator in there.
Yep.
As El Scorpio.
Yeah,
We've got Calvin fucking Lockhart in this thing. Calvin, I fucking hate and hunt werewolves. Lockhart in this thing playing King Willie, I'm sorry. By the way, watch The Beast Must Be Destroyed.
Mhm.
if you want to find that out.
Oh, but my favorite part with the freaking casting in this is we got Paxton back.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We got
We got
Paxton.
Paxton back, and it's at this point in his career that he gets his most infamous thing you'll ever see when you look him up on Google, and that is he is the one and only actor to be killed by a Terminator, by a Xenomorph, and a Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was definitely the first of that. If I remember correctly, Lance Henriksen also has that honor, but that only
Yes.
came way
He now
later
does,
after
yes.
AVP.
That does,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, but Paxton did it first.
Paxton
I'm
did
just
it
sa-
first.
He started
just-
the challenge.
Which, by the way, random side note, it was because of Varren pointing out this fact, and I went, "Oh shit, I knew that, but I had never put it together." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, cool." But and then I started thinking about everything I've seen Paxton in. I'm like, he really loves to do death scenes, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys know there's a website called Cinemorgue?
Yes.
I did not know about this. I will have to check this out.
Oh god. So it's basically a website dedicated to all the death scenes any actor has ever done.
Nice.
Oh.
And
Interesting.
that's what I found out between his film roles, his TV roles, and also a music video
Mhm.
that he did forever and a day ago. Paxton died 30 times on screen.
Well,
like-
when you have a talent.
Yeah,
I
no,
know,
there's some people
right?
that's just what they want. Like,
I now have a new goal in life. Wind up on Cinemorgue.
like Michelle Rodriguez. Like, that's one of the things she often demands when she's gonna appear in a film. It's like, okay, I gotta die in this though, and you're gonna make it a fantastic death.
But yeah, I was so happy to see Bill back. He adds so much flavor into everything he's in, and the fact that he got to do both the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise
Yeah,
so close together. Like, he's such a foundational face in this franchise now, and I'm like, Bill, we love you.
both times going out like a badass.
Mhm.
Yep.
And both times
Although
weirdly
although
being
very much cut
obnoxious.
down. Although this time very much cut down for what actually happens to him, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah. But yeah, so as we said, I guess this will allow me to. So this film takes place in the future.
Yep, because
Kind of. So we're
it was
done.
made in 1990, and they envisioned it in the far-off year of 1997.
Well,
Yep.
because the
So
world was
far.
seeming to go to shit by that point, and so everybody was expecting it like, oh yeah, we're gonna basically be living in like RoboCop type shit.
Yeah, like this takes place in Los Angeles. It's run by gangs in a lot of places. There's a massive heat wave going on thanks to global warming.
Well,
And
they're
that's-
early.
They're early.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of like a Demolition Man.
Oh yeah,
And-
Demolition Man, also 1997.
Mhm.
Yeah. 90s was weird.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
this heat and all this fighting, of course, it attracts some attention, as we see in our opening shots as we're scouring the city of Los Angeles through the eyes of the Predator. That's trademark heat vision we see,
Mhm.
and then our first thing we find is, of course, the fucking shootout between the Colombians and the police,
Yeah.
and introducing the immortal character of El Scorpio.
Yes.
Scorpio is ready.
No, that made me. I'm gonna say this with prefaces. This is actually my first time really watching Predator 2. Because yeah, I hadn't watched it up to this point. My God. And when I
yeah, you
when I
missed a
s-
lot, didn't you?
Mm,
You
yeah.
missed a
I did.
gem, man.
I did. No, the main thing is that when the scene where the Colombians retreat and start to restock, everyone's grabbing guns, everyone's grabbing ammo. You just see El Scorpio open a case full of cocaine, dip his hand in, and just. And I'm like, Okay, I think I'm gonna like this one.
Yeah.
That hardware.
yeah.
Oh my god, I had a hard on in the beginning. M50s. He was bringing in the MP55s.
Yeah.
Sniper rifles on. God.
Yeah, at one point, like it
Stop,
almost
I can
looks
only
like
be so
they
erect.
pull the fucking RoboCop massive gun
Yes.
out of there.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
The anti-tank gun. The
Yeah.
Yeah, it
anti-tank
looks straight up
gun.
like the Cobra
Mhm.
rifle. Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
That's an anti-tank rifle.
Yes.
Holy shit, that's an anti-tank
Anti-tank
rifle.
rifle.
Bitches love cannons.
Boom. Yeah. So we do get to, yeah, at this point, it's during all of this, like, it gets up to the roofs and everything, and, yeah, Danny Glover playing Lieutenant Mike Harrigan, yeah, our lieutenant spots something.
He notices something little shimmering in the distance.
Yep. And this is our predator, which we notice is a lot, kind of smaller, slimmer,
A lot more aggressive.
a lot more aggressive.
Yes. I'm more
Kind of
aggressive.
acts like a teenager.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is where. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one to talk about because I finally get to really talk about the novelization of this. One, a book that I am willing to shill out the 80 fucking bucks it'll cost me at the least to get, if I can fucking get a hold of it. But yeah, so yeah, normal. Yeah, we could go through the plot and everything. Also, yeah, we eventually get Gary Busey in this film.
Yes.
Which this was his first movie post motorcycle accident.
Yes, and oh boy, he's crazy. And
Well, it's still toned down right now. I'll give him that.
He doesn't
Yeah,
go
it's-
full 8-ball. He doesn't
Yeah.
go full
Yeah,
eight
no,
ball.
he's not. He's still playing a relative straight man. He hasn't gone full batshit insane just
Yeah.
yet.
Right.
Mhm.
Although there are some funny behind the scene clips where he's like talking about quantum theory all of a sudden and like staring dead eye into the camera without blinking. It's like, oh, okay, I think I see some few signs here already.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, oh yeah, I've watched the behind the scenes. Yeah,
The FBI is gonna pay me to hunt predators?
yeah. Funny enough, though, yeah, the first pick wasn't Gary Busey.
No.
Mhm.
In fact, this wasn't supposed to be a different character.
Oh, was it supposed to be Dutch?
Yep.
Yeah,
The
I
idea
did-
was
I-
that he kind of went nuts trying to like hunt down predators after this, and it was supposed to be him and the girl.
Ah, that makes sense.
Well,
That explains
She-
a lot.
she is there actually in the in the compound when Danny Glover's character stumbles on it. She's in the background.
Oh shit!
Oh
I never
yeah,
noticed
yeah.
that.
When they
Okay.
find the sweat shops.
Yeah.
The sweatshop.
I did
Yeah.
I did do some
Yeah.
extra research on that particular fact though, and it seems like at least this is according to the director, according to Steven, that he said like, yeah, Dutch would be in this movie, but Keys would also still be a part of it.
Yes.
Just Keys would be way more in the background, while Dutch would be taking the charge of hunting the actual predators.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then due to scheduling conflicts and Arnold picking to go film Terminator 2 instead,
hmm
then they made Keys' role way more prominent.
Which I think was a better choice, anyways.
Yes.
Dutch doesn't fit here.
Also,
Not
Terminator
in
2
that
is-
way.
Is, also, we need Terminator 2. It's an amazing movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Eh.
All right.
Right, no time to be the contrarian now. We'll talk about it later.
Uh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because as the cleanup happens around the Colombian shit, we see the feds coming in, which of course led by Mr. Keys himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we immediately get this conflict established between them and the regular police. This of like, all right, who's actually in charge of this fucking investigation? And then we have all those conflicts happening.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, in between there, we also get like my favorite bastard character in this movie, who was played by Morton Downey Jr., Mr. Tony Pope himself, with
Mhm.
hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
God, he's such a smug, annoying asshole in this, and yet
Yes,
he's so goddamn memorable.
Yeah,
Which-
but like that's the always funny thing where like every one of these movies, it seems like it's always with cop movies. You always have to have that one arrogant asshole investigative journalist.
Yeah.
You always have to have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like cop movies and superhero movies. You always have to have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a requirement.
Yeah, and Tony is definitely one where it's just a fucking, there's a lot of guerrilla warfare happening. He's doing guerrilla reporting. Just trying to get in there whenever, like, he infiltrates the crime scenes that they're finding. Like, eventually, later in the movie, when they find the Jamaican massacre, films a lot of shit there and airs that out, causing a lot of grief, of course, for the police.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually at the end, so satisfying when he tries to get into Danny Glover's face one last time, and then
And
just
he
turns
gets
around,
punched out.
whap!
Yeah, he just gets bam. No, my favorite thing though is how he constantly rags on the mayor that we never see.
Oh
He's
yeah,
off
Yeah.
on vacation somewhere.
Yeah, he's off on vacation at Lake Tahoe,
Oh, yeah.
and because once it gets back, the mayor's gonna have their ass.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny. Every time I see this one, I just think to myself, Lake Tahoe. With all that shit going down, he's gone further. He's all the way up in Crater Lake. Fuck Tahoe.
Yeah.
Tahoe's too
Yeah.
close.
He probably told people Tahoe so that they wouldn't follow.
Yeah,
Like, oh, he's over there. Wait, why is he? He's not here.
yeah, it's like that politician that was like, "Oh, I'm hiking in the Appalachians," and then it's like in fucking Latin America with his mistress. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think this kind of conversation shows kind of the biggest difference between Predator 1 and 2. While I don't agree in saying that it's better, I will say Predator might have the more iconic moments, but Predator 2 is just a lot more fun
Mm-hmm.
when it comes
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
just
So?
the dynamics and everything. Like,
I
especially
will-
because I will say this. I will say my hot take.
Okay.
I think this might not even be a hot take. I think Danny Glover as Detective Mike is a way better main character in the Predator movies as more than Dutch
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Dutch is very. We've seen Arnold do this before,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying it's bad. He is very good as Dutch.
Yeah.
However, he, Danny Glover though is just always on, and I think the thing that I like about about that is as a cop, he is at more of a disadvantage. I feel than Dutch. Dutch is just like, okay, he is like the best of the best, and yeah, he gets his ass kicked, but yeah, no, like I feel like a cop going after a predator is like, oh, you fuck, dude. I hope you make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
as a cop character, he has a lot more he has to deal with and worry about than
Mhm.
Military units in the middle of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
True,
Because,
true.
There's all the innocent bystanders. There's his bosses are like right there breathing down his neck. The press is
Mhm.
there
Yep.
breathing down his neck. There's so
Mhm.
much more he has to worry about and account for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because these are just police thrust into this situation, it does allow for the livelier and more memorable cast of characters rather than the battle-hardened, military characters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Right.
like with as much as I love the characters in Predator 1, of course, there's just also just something extra special about having Danny Glover's character Leona played by Mary Conchita, of course, Cherry played by Bill Paxton.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really again bring a whole new dynamic, like bring their own type of team, but yet still really standing out
Mm-hmm.
in their own particular ways. Like again, like as we mentioned with Bill Paxton, like he's a fast talking dude in this who is really able just try to get everything to his own hand. Like, hey, PR is my specialty,
Mm-hmm.
tailing's my specialty.
Yeah.
Advantage is my specialty.
This will allow me to do a combination here, actually, because now that we've gotten to this point. First of all, okay, fantastic kills and shit up to this point. We got to see the razor wire fucking net do its thing. We got to see a lot of shit. We saw people skinned. Woo! Yeah, it's...
And we would have seen a lot more of that, but sadly, when we had the first cut of the movie, it was rated NC-17.
Too violent.
And then they had to recut this movie 17 times.
Yeah, they should have
before they got the R rating.
They should have held on to that cut and been able to release it.
I know, right?
I would have killed to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of too violent, it's like one, you have that reflection with the actual production of the movie and all the NC-17 shit. But I think it's absolutely brilliant that they chose Danny Glover specifically to play not just a cop, but an older cop in his position in the time frame that it's set.
Yeah,
that plus.
Ooh boy,
this,
like I just realizing like it's set in the future, like 1997 for sure, but I remember all the talk about LA. In the early 90s and the late 80s, and oh gosh, like when you look back on this, the subtle commentary and also not so subtle commentary it's making, like you have this whole scene where they're going over Danny Glover's like career profile and talking about like, oh, he's this, he's that, he's too aggressive, but he also has the best arrest record, the most accurate arrest record. Like, it's like, they do the stereotypical portrayal of like, oh yeah,
you're a loose cannon.
You're a loose cannon. You're an aggressive black man. But at the same time, he's the best they have, and yet he's also I just think it's fantastic that he's just at his wit's end. You can tell he's in the late stages of his career. And this is the last kind of cop everybody would expect to be able to win against something like a hyper-hormonal young predator out to prove something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in the end, this is the film that really hammers home, like, you don't need to be, like Dutch. You don't need to be some military ops specialist. You don't need to have the perfect bod. You don't need to have war experience. You just need to be more clever than your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I feel like the character is just perfect representation of that.
It's not about strength, it's about guile.
So, something a lot of people don't catch unless... you can catch some of it, but you don't understand why it's important. Until you've actually read the, like, what got cut from the film, what would have been in the film, but was left for the novelization. Because it sounds like, from what I've gathered, I think the novelization is the NC-17 version.
It definitely includes a lot of, definitely some scenes that would be, like, explain a few things and a few reactions, like...
Leona and
for
Jerry.
example, like for example, Leona getting pregnant.
Which is interesting because it is established in the novelization, in the original script, she's a lesbian.
Yep.
She has her own. She has a lover. She has a wife, and the thing is,
she has a wife.
It's Jerry's kid.
After a drunken night.
Yep. That's so. Him dying here, she has at least something to remember, to keep of him. But like, yeah, that was like a real big like oh shit between the two of them, especially when it's she's pregnant. It's like what? And yeah, this is where we establish the fact that there are rules amongst the law of the hunt, and that is you do not go after children. This is why you see it kind of like watching a kid, but it doesn't go after the kid. Especially when it can establish it's like, the kid has a gun. And then it scans the gun and realizes it's a toy.
Yep.
Which by the way, that's one of my favorite scenes where the kid's like, I see you. Predator's like, I see you. And then it's like, he does a little shimmer thing when moving around and just kid runs away. Mommy, I saw a ghost. This scene happens in a graveyard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That scene makes me giggle every time, just because, like, kids in their imaginations, like, of course I saw a ghost. Like, oh, you did? Yeah, that's very appropriate considering where we are. And yet, that child will always know.
And you know that Predator
that they saw something weird.
Yeah. And because, again, the Predator is established, again, in the novelization, a little bit here in the movie, that he is much younger. He is an adolescent. He's a teen. And you can guess that
pick up.
He got a kick out of messing with that kid.
Yeah.
Like,
although it would have been funny, I think, if he kept that recorded line and just like taunted Donnie with just want some candy.
He does taunt someone else with that line, though.
Ah, yeah.
He did that. He did that to Jerry.
Did that to Jerry.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was creepy as fuck. But yeah, no, that's established that it's a younger one, and that there's the rules. You don't go after children. You do not go after unarmed women.
Well, unarmed people in general.
Unarmed people in general, but you definitely don't go. Especially don't go after. And if the woman is, and if she's pregnant, it doesn't matter if she's armed. You leave her alone because she is protecting her young.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that. And you also eventually it is explained in a later film. They also don't hunt the sickly because there's no sport in that.
No sport.
So they're like regular hunter.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
You don't hunt or doe. You don't hunt fawn.
Yep.
You just go for the bucks.
Yep. You can go after a doe if she's not pregnant and she is, armed, fighting you. Yeah. Fine.
But that's self-defense.
That's
exactly.
Well, I always, of course, personally, I always feel also if you hunt a buck, you take the meat. Don't just take the trophy.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they are
venison is delicious.
Yeah, which that's the difference with them because they are trophy hunters.
It just reminded.
True.
It just reminded me of that South Park episode. Oh no, it's headed straight for me.
We got that idea from a guy who shot a bear out of a tree. And he yelled, "It was coming right for me." Yeah, but that's not funny. The guy it was a bear in a tree. It wasn't coming for him. Early South Park, I fucking love it on the DVDs at their mini commentary. This fireside chat with Trey and Matt. One giggles, he goes, "That's not funny." Yeah. So yeah, all of that is established here. Some of it is still in the film, like I said, but a lot of it is subtext.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, what the fucking novelization? I've never wanted a book so much in my life.
It is definitely a very cool piece of what if story, if that was also all included in the movie. Again, like when it comes to novelization stuff, it's always like very iffy on what is canon, what isn't. But there's a lot of that in that book where it's like that would have been really, really cool to have.
Yep, and going forward would be considered canon. Like going forward, it is literally just it is how more of the expanded universe of Predator is. It's how they actually establish still stuff in the later movies. Like,
Because a
yeah.
whole lot of stuff was then also used in the comics.
Yep.
Which were also happening at that particular time. Which technically, this movie is a little bit of an adaptation of the first Predator run from Dark Horse, which was their storyline, Concrete Jungle.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, like the main character was a cop. In that one, it was also a cop. Although that one they actually established it as Dutch's brother. The feds are also there, trying to cover shit up. And hell, even the train scene in this is taken straight out of that comic series.
Okay. God, the train scene is so good.
Yep. We would have seen a lot more of that, but again, cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's my favorite thing of that train scene is always like when the punks are accosting at one dude, he pulls out his gun and then it's like, the man's bigger, and then suddenly all the train cars just everybody has a fucking gun straight at them. It's like, oh, you want to try this shit, motherfucker?
This movie has nothing to say about gun regulation in the early 90s.
No.
No, it has nothing to say at all.
Yes.
There. You did say there. What I'm actually curious. You said there was more to Jerry's death.
Well, yeah, as I said, without those cuts, we actually would have seen what happened to him. Oh God, I can't quite remember what was it. But yeah, I think you actually were able to see the decapitation.
Oh shit.
In the original cut.
Okay.
Because it is also like after that happened, when he's holding the skull up towards the heavens and then gets struck by lightning. In the movie that is definitely supposed to be Jerry's skull.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the novelization it's actually supposed to be Danny's, but I can't quite remember that detail.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided like, oh, it's actually Danny's. Like, even though you just killed Jerry, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. But yeah, no, we would have actually just seen the whole shebang of what happened to his body.
Mm. Speaking of good decapitations in this film, I love what happened to the gang leader.
King Willie.
I love that. I love he's kind of being a badass going up against it too, like standing his ground. But I love the fact that we also see how a trophy is polished and made.
Right.
Yep. Because it gets taken back to the ship. You see all that nice cleaning equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Suck out all the flesh. Make sure it is all well moisturized so it just falls off the skull. And then, of course, gotta have some lovely polishing on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put it on the wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Nah, there's so much to love in this film.
Oh yeah.
So
I am especially actually really a fan of the design of the Predator ship.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even talking about just the trophy room. I'm just talking the general design of everything. Apparently, oh God, what was the material used again? But I know it was like some special. It was just some metal that they like backlit. But just the way it was all designed made it extra alien.
Mm-hmm.
Just to the general eye.
Which, speaking of alien, I guess we should bring up the fact that
We should probably bring up the fact that
why we're talking about these two together in the first place.
Yeah. When we eventually get to the ship and Danny is looking around the ship, he sees the trophy room. Goes look in it, and we see a nice, long, very familiar looking skull of a xenomorph.
Yep.
Which
fans went wild.
Yeah.
Yes,
although I did find out something funny because like I always thought Predator 2 was the start of the whole Alien versus Predator concept.
Mm-mm.
No.
It predates.
The comics of Aliens vs. Predator had already started at that particular time in February of 1990.
Yeah,
This movie came out in November of 1990.
Yeah.
But they were trying to find stuff to fill the trophy room. Stan Winston still had a skull around, and then he was like, "Yeah, put that in there. I'll give a little nod to the comics."
Nice.
And then it became officially canon.
Canon, yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
you gotta love that he did that as just a little nod, because the whole, like, I'm gonna show my nerd ass so hard right here.
It's okay.
Do it.
So it's like most people don't realize, who have grown up like watching Star Trek but never have gotten like super into Star Trek, like one, that there are even Star Trek comics and all the crossovers they've had over the decades, and the whole aliens and predators being in the same universe, them having altercations and things like that, could have just remained in comic book obscurity. And it's real easy for that to happen because it's only really been since the 2010s since comic books have moved out of the niche of its own sphere and really become more wide public knowledge. And so that little nod in a film just absolutely set the entire general public's imagination on fire for the possibilities of that. And it's something that could have only stuck to books and only stuck to comic books, but nope, you make one little nod and all of a sudden zoom, and now it's just like everybody's on board with it, and I love him for doing that.
Oh yeah.
The 90s were definitely like a big heyday of comic popularity. So that's also why I'm not surprised that eventually we had this particular thing get into this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's again, like it sent people up in a tizzy. It really made the Alien versus Predator concept way more popular as well. Like a whole bunch more comics and novels and such will eventually be made into this, all thanks to this little inclusion.
So Busey's death is like insanely quick, but I fucking love it.
Oh yeah. Again, that was also one that was sadly affected by the cuts, because there was even like there was even talks of like showing like that the whole body would have been like pinned to the outer wall after like being slashed by the smart disc. But yeah, eventually they just had to cut it where it's like, all right, the torso disappears and the legs fall down. That's all you're getting.
You get a blood spurt too, like a nice blood spurt. Along with, because it's like cutting through the meat. Questionable meat.
Yep.
Yeah, meat. Did I go? Hold on. It is nice because you see that blade, you're like, oh, that thing's so cool. I want to see it in action. Whoa.
Yeah, we get a lot. We get so many more tools for the Predator in this one as well, which is so goddamn awesome. We already mentioned the net gun earlier, but yeah, the smart disc is so goddamn cool with how it is used. Eventually, also being the tool that allows Harrigan to take out the Predator.
Yep.
But then also my absolute favorite weapon, which is the combi spear.
Oh my god, I love that thing.
Yeah, that.
I want one.
Well, sadly, this one you won't be able to get because I remember correctly, it was stolen.
Damn it!
A lot of props were actually stolen from this particular movie. Like, that whole Predator Council we had at the end. All those suits are gone. Nobody knows what happened to them.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
sold on the black market, probably.
People get souvenirs from being in movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is
I
actually,
think...
which is why those predators are now known as the Lost Tribe.
The Lost
Tribe.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, even I think even the Xenomorph skull got stolen.
That wouldn't shock me.
No, I'm not surprised.
No.
Although I did find it quite funny how they actually had to make the spear, because they couldn't make a mechanism where it was retractable on both ends. So they had to make one end like where it is able to retract, and then another one where it's able to retract on the other end. So hence why when you see the spear being used and being put back into it, those cuts, yeah, they're deliberate because they had to switch out the props.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, that became such an iconic thing that like even because one of the Predator figures I own is actually the one from Predator 2, specifically the Predator 2 Genesis game, and it does come with the smart disc and the spear.
Which, oh god, yeah, nerd girl lament here. I, a while back, got my hands on a figure during I think I was running around during Free Comic Book Day, and I was also just buying a bunch of shit too, and I got my hands on a Predator 2 figure with like all the little setup with it.
Might have been the same one that I have.
I had to return it.
Aww.
Because I was in between jobs.
Right.
I
remember that
needed
moment.
money. Yeah. Yeah, that was, fuck, I ain't hiding it. Fuck Home Depot. Yeah, that was literally, I was in between. I had like a month and a half where I was unemployed. And like Free Comic Book Day hit, and I splurged because I was just so happy. This like I had money to do all this stuff, and then I was like, oh shit, I still have bills I gotta pay.
Those
Like
damn
while
bills.
waiting, and I'm like, fuck. Thankfully everything worked out, but yeah, I had to return that, and there was something else I had to return. It was at least like 2 figures I had to return.
Yeah.
To put like
If I
$80
remember
back in my
correctly,
pocket.
if I remember correctly, though, I think the NECA toy, which is the one that I have, is still very much in circulation, so you should be able to get it pretty easily.
I'll hunt it down. The one thing I did not have to part with, because I said, no, you are not, you'll have to pry this from my hands, was the collected comic of Maximum Carnage. I'm like, no, I ain't giving that up.
Nope.
I found this for $30. It's mine. Everybody was like, okay, fair. Favorite Spider-Man comic. Someday I'll be able to talk more comics, but yeah, that. So yeah, we have the final confrontation. Danny's way too old for this shit, but he gets in there.
Oh yeah, and like even up until that point, we have the Predator just getting riddled with bullets, getting his arms cut off.
Oh god,
And
it
then-
healing itself scene. That shit was so funny. Like, gnarly, but then, like, yeah, the neighbors are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
we have
cauterizing the wound. Yeah.
and then we have the iconic line that I said at the beginning. It's like, it's okay, I'm a cop. I don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah.
Gets me every single time. Although shout out to the stuntman for who played the one, because there was an actual one-armed stuntman who did all those scenes, but with the one-armed Predator. And he was actually dangling off of 100-story building.
Shit.
But
Stuntmen are just built. They're just made differently.
Oh, yeah.
They built different, yeah. But
Yes,
luckily
they
they had a special mechanism which in the movie they called the descender.
Yeah,
Of just letting him drop real fast.
yeah. I could tell. It's like, okay, yeah. You could tell in the movies, like, yeah, he's dropping, but he's definitely being hoisted by something. And it's like, okay, thank you. I please do not kill stuntmen for your movie.
Yeah, let's
no.
not fucking do that.
No, I'm not Italian. Don't do that.
We don't need to pull a John Landis.
Ow!
Oh, hey-oh.
Yeah, sorry, dude, but you will never live down your shit around here.
Oh, and Max Landis, we don't care about. Oh, you're sad that we're making fun of your daddy. I don't give a shit.
Is that what
People
you've
die
done?
'cause
Yeah.
Honey, be glad the joke's about you, because we can make jokes about you.
Fucking Predator
Yeah.
of another kind.
Glass
Yeah.
houses and all that.
Yeah. So, yeah, final confrontation. I love it when he gets the mask off of it, and he starts, you are one ugly, and then he gets cut off, and he just goes, motherfucker! Like, oh, shit! Gets me every time!
Yeah. If I remember correctly, in the novelization, they explained that the that the mask actually send out data from its final fight up towards the home world, and that's how they know that line.
Nice.
And then it was eventually established, as we'll get to those movies, but like in some of the AVP movies, it's established that data gets sent through the biomasks.
Yep.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
that whole confrontation, they have their fight in the spaceship, which is still like one where Danny is still very much on the back foot,
Mm-hmm.
but then he is able to do the playing a little bit of possum,
Yep.
and then while he's open wide, it's like psych, slice into the belly,
Yep.
and he gets in there deep, like you hear the smart disc just churning away at his fucking internal organs.
Yeah.
Just ooh, gnarly.
Yeah. So yeah, he wins. I won't say flawless victory, but
So it is in what we in Tekken would call a great.
yeah, great. Either Tekken's great or, goddamn dude, you survived on a Konami sliver.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you motherfucker.
Even Daigo would be like, "Wow, that is a sliver of health."
Yeah.
Okay, even I wouldn't do that.
But yeah, they're not alone.
And we see our tribal council there.
They all come out and you realize, oh, they've been watching this whole time.
Yep. All unique in their own way. All have their like the stories they could tell with just their fucking armor.
Mm-hmm.
All unique masks. Like they're so goddamn cool. Some of those masks eventually also being remodeled and reused for later movies.
Nice. Yeah. And he gets a prize.
Yep.
He does
Gets a
get
trophy.
rewarded.
Take it.
It's a fucking flintlock. Damn. Yeah. Like,
Yep.
oh.
1700s.
Yep.
I hate how the first time I watched this years and years ago, I was just like, the hell fuck is that for? I didn't see that before. I spent 3 days trying to figure out where I had missed it, only to just look it up online later and go, oh, they just did that.
Yeah, they just did that. It's
They just did that. They just did that.
Supposed to be a sign of
And,
respect.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. The way this man's poor ears had to deal with what comes later.
We'll get to that.
But we'll get to that when we get to that.
But yeah, this does establish that, oh, they've been on this planet. They've been coming here for quite a while. And yeah, that's it's Predator 2. Oh yeah, they almost they're like, oh yeah, you need to get off the ship now. We're leaving. Yeah, if you get burned by the fire, that's not our problem. But
That's not a problem, yeah.
You did good. You did good. But run.
Mhm.
30-second timer to get off the ship.
Yeah. Fucking gets off, and yeah, you see those like the fucking flames off of that ship nearly take him out. It's like, fuck, that would have been like an ending.
It's okay. I hid under this pile of ash. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. I fucking love Predator 2.
Oh yeah, I again like this one. I'm definitely of the opinion that it was very much unnecessarily maligned at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as Predator 1, but it's still such a goddamn good time.
Mm-hmm. I knew so many people who hated it. They're like, yeah, Predator 2 is like weak. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are we watching the same film?
Predator 2 isn't as tight as the other films. It's,
Yeah,
Oh,
and
no,
like,
no.
it's a lot more messy. It's in some ways not as tense because it has like moments of reprieve in between action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I also
so
think. Yep, sorry, Gary.
it makes it a different experience. It's not a bad experience.
Mhm.
It's not an unenjoyable experience. The movie is a lot of fun in certain ways, but if you go into it expecting a film like like Predator 1, you're going to be kind of disappointed, and the film's going to feel all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of those films that you have to enjoy it as its own thing, even though it exists within the Predator universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
It's a different style,
Yeah.
but it still works in its own way. If even if it is like, you know, it stumbles a little bit along the way. But again, I think that's mostly to do thanks to the cuts that have to happen to get the R rating.
Yeah.
Well, if,
Well,
Go ahead.
and out of all the ones I've seen so far, because I have not seen any of the AVPs yet, so take this comment with a grain of salt.
mm-hmm.
Out of all the Predator movies I have seen so far, it is the most popcorny of them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
In
I
a way,
think that's
yeah.
and I think that's where the vibe gets thrown off. It's like, you know, Predator 1 is tight, it's just really focused on its story. You're tense the majority of the film, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Predators tried to do a similar thing, whether or not you
Dude.
I said it tried, okay. You know, it did its thing. It tried to recreate that vibe, and you know, when you get into later stuff like Prey, it does the same thing as one with its tension, but you know, in its own way. Whereas, like Grave said, this one's a little all over the place, and you got a lot more kooky moments, and you know, these lulls, and it's got a lot more of just that standard popcorn fare of its era,
Mm-hmm.
which probably is the thing that puts people off about it. But if you enjoy that sort of thing and you enjoy Predator movies and you can just let those things coexist, it's fantastic.
The way it feels to me, and I'd like to say, the first Predator is a nice action flick. It is a nice
Right.
sci-fi action flick. The second film, to me, feels... How would I put this? It feels messy in a literal sense. There's a lot more of a griminess to the second film to me, which is something I like. I love films like that. I mean, it's why I love a lot of the late 80s aesthetic. Late 80s, early 90s, because it's grimy. It feels... You feel somewhat unclean after watching it. Like...
I mean, they literally filmed in unclean streets in Los
Streets
Angeles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that stuff like
After?
that.
They had
After
to clean.
watching it,
Okay, during it, but you especially want to
No,
go
no,
shut
no,
and
no,
bathe
no, no, no.
after.
one of the most iconic shots of this movie to me is literally the opening shot. You're panning over the woods. You're like, so serene, so wild, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, look at all that smog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, you can barely see the skyline because
Yeah.
in 1990, the smog was just that bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like you could feel it crawling on your skin.
But it's something I like
And
about
I
like
also-
RoboCop because it's kind of in the same vein.
Yeah.
It's like it always felt more of a grimy film to me. It felt like a grimy universe.
Yeah. I
Okay,
will
go on,
say,
Mark.
I think the big thing for me personally, why I think Predator 1 is better than Predator 2, as much as I enjoy both films,
Mm-hmm.
Predator 1's tightness and just kind of nice, concise bit allows it to have much more of a punch. Much more of a good, old-fashioned, like, hard-hitting sort of action movie. While Predator 2 does a lot of crazy shit, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of certain things kind of get in the way of the main story. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Detective Mike Flanagan and the battles he has with, like, Sales and his own chief. But a lot of it doesn't really come off as great Predator movie. It comes off as generic loose cop movie. Especially when it comes to the fact that we're 2 Lethal Weapon sequels in by the time this movie came out.
Going on the
you
third one.
The third one was 92. Yeah, it was after this.
Mhm.
So you have this kind of battle odds of like this great like cat and mouse game like Predator movie, and also on the other side of things, just another kind of generic loose cop versus gang life movie, and they feels like they kind of butt heads and just it loses all impact at certain points. And also, I say this maybe probably because of the benefits of the cuts, like as Varren mentioned, but I feel like we didn't get as many. We didn't utilize the idea of the Predator being in a city as much as I think you could have. Because it feels like there's not a lot of like really great set pieces for this. Because the most we really get for the Predator is he tends to stick to roofs, and that's about it. Like, we don't get to mess around with him on the ground. We don't get to him too much messing around in buildings, except for that one scene where after he heals himself, he gets out of the bathroom and he gets chased through the building. But that eventually just goes back to the roof anyway.
Well,
so in the basement too, yeah. But it really just feels like
Well, it's a hunter trying to keep the high ground.
Right.
True, but it also feels like we had so much missing potential. Like, I feel like there could have been way more, even if you did the whole stick to the high ground thing, which is fair. I feel like there was so much more potential you could have had just messing around the idea of this type of hunter in the middle of a metropolitan city. Like, the big thing for me is I'm kind of surprised we never truly get to see a predator in a skyscraper when you think about it.
The closest we get that is it the penthouse scene?
Yeah. Like, in my head, like, if you're gonna go for that hunter gets the high ground thing, where not to go than one of the highest buildings in the fucking city?
No, that's definitely budget at that point.
And that's one of those things where it's like, that is probably budget. It's one of those things where it's like, I understand why. I just think that if we had the chance, I would have loved to see this movie go more all out with the concept.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because the idea of a predator in a metropolitan city just seems like a perfect sort of playground for a character like that.
So I'm not arguing you, but can I present a counter to the idea of this film? Like, it's shit clashing with itself.
Right. Go ahead.
With the first Predator, you go in expecting a nice action flick and everything. Like, if you were to just put somebody in front of Predator, not having seen any trailers, not knowing anything about what's happening, you just showed them the movie, they're expecting a jungle action flick, and then suddenly an alien shows up. And, like, even they all say, this is out of place. Something isn't right here.
Yeah,
I feel that's the same with the second. That's the idea. The Predator doesn't fit in a city like that.
Yeah.
It's out of its place. It feels like it even jumped into a different movie.
Yeah. I can see that, but a counterpoint to your counterpoint, I feel like Predator 1 merges the two a whole lot better than... Sorry. Made my mistake there. I feel like Predator 1 merges the two a whole lot better than Predator 2 does.
And fair.
I will have a counterpoint to the counterpoint to the counterpoint. The fact that it
What is this Ace Attorney shit?
Objection!
The fact that it's also a younger Predator can also be used as a bit of a justification, whereas an older Predator probably would be using would know things like abandoned buildings and would have figured out hours of operation, so would have hidden somewhere where they're closed, break into something that they're closed, and leave before they open.
That's the thing. This is a younger, less experienced. It came here to prove something, but he didn't quite know how to prove it.
Okay, I will give you that, but also I think that's for us knowing, like, things that aren't in the movie itself as much.
Well, you can pick up on that in the movie.
A little bit,
like, in the way that it keeps slipping up. The
Yeah,
Predator
yeah,
shouldn't have been
it's-
seen. He shouldn't have been seen that many times as he is.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
first
but-
Predator is, yeah, you could kind of tell like this is like that first Predator did not make those mistakes.
No.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they kind of noticed him, but they didn't like. You still had
Yeah.
it wasn't the thing of, oh, you just are now being able to see them.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
There's definitely some ways of framing, definitely like the way of framing it, where, because I think it's also just with the fact in the first movie we didn't see a whole lot of the Predator,
Mhm.
and now that we were able to get some more of the Predator, that's when they were able to, try to really shoot a lot more of that. But I think I do have to agree a little bit with Doc here,
Mhm.
where it's like there's not a whole lot of clues to indicate the younger stuff. There's definitely stuff you could pick up, but it's not entirely clear. Thanks to a lot of thanks to a lot of stuff we know, thanks to the extra supplemental stuff. That's when we're able to like really pick those things up together. But if you only know the movie, as I'm assuming Doc here has it, that I can see where he's coming from.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe because if you only know the movie, you can argue it's just more of an alien not as sure of its own environment as the first Predator was. Because
Mhm.
with the first Predator, you had the benefit of while they weren't there for a while, you also had the benefit of it's a thick ass jungle. They can hide very fucking easily.
Mhm.
With Predator 2, you can have this idea of this is an alien coming to Earth, having no idea what's like general cities are like. So they might not know the vantage points of a city as much. They might not know how to hide where you have these mixture of tall buildings and buildings with open roofs. That's why when you're talking about like, oh, he's younger, so he's inexperienced, it's like, yeah, but I feel like that's more benefit of hindsight with the supplemental material. If you only know the movie, you can just see it as a alien who doesn't know the environment.
See, and
Now
the-
I'm imagining a fucking.
yeah.
Little mistakes like that.
I'm imagining now a scene where it's just the Predator suddenly falls into a Walmart and just what kind of chaos would happen
Oh
there.
God. Yeah, they're
well, the Predator would hide in the Dollar General, where there's just tons of stuff.
You say that, but I figure like if this was instead of LA, this would be in the South. You will hide in a Walmart, and he would have a good time of his life in the gun section.
Yeah, thing is, even before I knew of the supplementary material, because I learned about that, I'd long seen the movie before I ever learned about the book, the novelization. I had always picked up on the idea that, because just looking at the frame and everything, the design on the Predator, I'm like, this is thinner, this is sleeker, this is smaller. This feels like a younger one. And then I stopped and went, is that even possible? And like I kind of really thought about that and like, I mean, we don't know much about the species, so I mean, yeah, I guess this could be a younger hunter. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's either that, or you can argue that
Going on their first big hunt.
You can argue that it being leaner and more like less armored.
Mm-hmm.
You can also argue that being sort of it not taking its which you could argue that's the inexperience, but it's also one of those things where it's like you can also argue that it's looking for more efficiency than the original. Because you in the first Predator you have the benefits of the thick jungle, so you can go in there a little more heavily armored without being seen too much. And I think that Predator, seeing what type of caliber he was dealing with, very much so would probably have him be more armored and thicked up because he knows what he's dealing with. With the Predator sequel, it definitely feels like it's trying to be like, even if you argue he's less experienced, he's definitely trying to go for more efficiency, I would say. Because specifically, the thing that gives it to me is sort of the body count. Because like Predator 1, while I love it, he's definitely a one person, one kill thing. Like he's not going for mass massacres.
Well, she
But
is.
then
We
you
now know,
have
but yeah.
well, she.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm misgendering the alien. I apologize.
I mean, look, in the first one they refer to it as a he, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in this one with Second Predator, he's going on mass rampages.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first scene with the drug dealers, he kills like 5 or 6 dudes right there. Then you have the Jamaican sacrifice. Then you have the biggest example being the fucking train scene, where they very much say everyone on that train is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just a few people, not a lot of traumatized. Everyone on that train is dead.
See, and this
I
is
think it's
again
26 people in total.
This is again why I've always was able to pick up on that vibe. It's like the way it acts, the way it does things. I'm like, yeah, this is less a trained hunter picking things off one by one, and this is more of a just, hey, I'm coming out here as a badass, like a young fucking hunter. You see that with fucking hunters half the time.
The goal is definitely different.
It's like, I'm going to get a huge count, and they got maybe one.
You know, one is like going for like the biggest fish in the pond, and the other one's just like, I'm going to fish with dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like it's a difference between. I hate to use redneck terms for this, but it's true. It seems like the difference between big bass fishing and noodling.
Yeah.
Like big bass fishing.
Noodling's more accurate.
Well, yeah, but it's also putting all of yourself into the water just to get what you want. I mean, you're trying to you're essentially pulling your whole ass arm into a fucking catfish so you can grab it by the gills and catch it. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get where you're coming from, though. At the same time, Doc, I do.
Yeah.
I think it might be column A, column B, as far as we're aware. It could be column A, column B.
No, as I said, Doc, it's like I totally get where you're coming from. I also get, I know I get where Okami's coming from. There are many ways of seeing it, yet both are valid with just how stuff is presented to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, love the movie. Definitely go watch the behind the scenes dance scene.
Oh, that's so hilarious.
The Lost Tribes last dance.
Yep, before they got stolen.
Yeah. But yeah, no, very good movie. Definitely check it out. So, I think we've said everything we need to say, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright. Then, let's wrap everything up. Xeiren, where can people find you?
You spell the name Xeiren. You can find me over on TikTok. You can find me over on Instagram. You can find me over on Threads. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can also find me on Varren's Twitch channel every Monday, being an absolute menace in his RPG streams.
Excellent. Var.
Well, as he says, you can find me over on twitch.tv/VarrenKimbled, where every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 p.m. Central European Time, you can see me play all kinds of fun games. Mondays, RPGs with this red-haired menace. Wednesdays, strategy, shooter, something else with an S. And Fridays, I play whatever the hell I can find. You can also find me on Blue Sky as Varren Kimbled. You can also find me over on YouTube at Varren Kimbled for VODs and compilations of the stream. If you want to indulge my OC content that I hopefully will be able to restart soon at time of recording, you can find that over on TikTok as Varren Kimbled. And I still have a Twitter around, but do be warned that I just do whatever the fuck I want on there.
Fair enough. Pass.
You can find me on Twitch. My doing stuff with this lady on to my right, to your left, Ookami. We've got the Twitter handle is twitch.tv/pass_the_remote. You'll find us Mondays. We do channel flip, where we just watch something, and Tuesday we have Toku Tuesday, showing the very best in Japanese people in tight spandex fighting rubber monsters and stuff.
Excellent.
You also can find me on the Twitter at past the remote CF, where you can just find me kind of just doing whatever.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Grave, where's the turtle today?
I'm giving the Lost Tribe some candy bars, so that way they don't miss out.
God damn it, you're adorable. Roy.
You can find me over on a little podcast known as the Starlight. We look at rare, obscure, and hard-to-find features. You also got the Red Light. Your home videos are horror, and you get to see me cryogenically defrosted over at Over the Ears podcast. Over on the Wolfstand Productions site and podbean.com. You can also send love mail, some hate mail, some Lost Tribe mail, some LA mail, some Jamaican tribe mail. You can your hunting mail to Starlight Podcast at protonmail.com. We also got an X or Twitter for you layman folk. It's capital R, capital L, capital P, capital S, Starlight. Yes. Send some comments, some recommendations. Just say hi. We love to hear from you. I also do reviews and lists over at criticlist.com. Your new alternative to Rotten Tomatoes. Go check them out. Doc.
You can mainly find me here at Wolfstand Productions doing all sorts of stuff, including Red Light, Starlight, and Over the Years podcast, where I take Roy through a decade of hip-hop music and wonder, well, mostly if the Predators are going to dance like that every time we do it. You can also find me on Critic List under Chaotic Doctor, where I do reviews and lists, including both the Starlight minis and kind of doing series of my own, where I go through some of my favorites and least favorites.
Excellent. And you can, of course, find me here on YouTube as well as Podbean with Wolfson Productions. From goofy-ass anime to the shocking horror, Wolfson Productions, your #1 stop for equally nerdy reviews of nerdy media. You can also find me over on Twitter. That's the Mistress, Ookami. That's right, Mistress Ookami. That's my name. Don't wear it out. And finally, if you're feeling extra generous, head on over to the Wolfson Patreon, where you can get access to episodes that may or may not drop to the general public. Episodes that most certainly will not be dropping to the general public. Behind the scenes, all sorts of goodies, all for just a measly $1 a month. Remember, folks, your $1 a month can go a long, long way. And until next time, we're going to start getting into stuff I don't like.
We're going to the slammer.
We had to get there at some point.
Yeah, we're moving into Alien 3, folks. I don't remember the year of that one.
That was 1993?
3? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, either that or like at least 92.
I think it was 3. I think it was 93.
92.
92?
92.
Okay, it was 92. Yep. All right, 1992's Alien 3. What a shit show that is. I can guarantee you the episode's going to be shorter, but it's going to have a lot more going. Why?
Alien cubed, if you will.
Yeah. Night, everybody. Oh.
Woof.
Will somebody take this KY jelly off me? They've been using it for so much goddamn predator blood.
God damn it. Alright, fine. I can finally go into the air. It's way too goddamn hot in this fucking town. Jeez.